Hello, welcome back to the CFWF Podcast. Your host, Alex Rathke. Today we have episode 37, which is a book review on... Man, my foot's stuck in a cord. God damn. Okay, I'm back. I'm good. So book review on Start With Why by Simon Sinek. The whole thing of the book is like how great leaders inspire everyone to take action. Start With Why. It is literally up there with my top favorite books of all time. You know, like with How to Win Friends and Influence People, and what's that? So, Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and Ben Bergeron's Chasing Excellence. So it's up there with all those. But this one in particular, more so than the other ones, it just really struck a chord with me. I didn't really understand what it was about it until I read the last little tiny bit of the book, which actually talks about Simon Sinek himself. I just feel like I can relate on a level with him, but also like I can relate with why he does it. I mean, his thing is to help people find their why, so then they can help other people find their why as well. And he just wants to inspire people and help them live better lives. And I can really relate to that. And, you know, Simon, he is the kind of person that never really knew what he wanted to do, never really found his calling until this book. And he sort of had followed those lines where he would help people, like inspire people, not particularly making them do amazing things, but just inspiring them along the way to believe in themselves or believe in why they're doing things. And I can really resonate with that because I feel like whatever I've been involved in my life, I've just had this thing where I enjoy and being able to help people be better, or you know, if people are on the fence about doing something, you know, just helping them get a belief inside themselves that they can do it. So I can just relate with him really well on that. But this book, amazing. I'm actually in the middle of his other book, which is Find Your Why. So it's like how to actually find your why. And your why is like the baseline of why you do what you do. But during this book, he talks not just about... let's go back a little bit. So there's three different things. There's why, there's what, and there's how. So like our business, what we do is we do CrossFit, we have nutrition, we do the intros, we do CrossFit teens, what we do, it's easy to find. How we do it, you know, it's the CrossFit values, the constantly varied functional movement executed at high intensity. There's, you know, we run classes, we book people in for intros, like the how stuff. That's reasonably easy as well. But the why, our why is to help people be better than yesterday, to help them have an hour of their life in here that makes the other 23 hours better. Our why is to inspire people to live better lives, really. And in this book, he talks a lot about Apple, the company Apple, not just apples like Granny Smith and Red Delicious and all that sort of stuff. But he talks about Apple, Microsoft, Harley Davidson, Southwest Airlines, Disney, the Wright brothers, and Martin Luther King Jr. And he talks about these companies and these people quite a lot. And a lot of them are very successful or influential figures, but they all have one thing in common, and that's their why. They were very clear on their why. Like Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't particularly an outstanding spokesman in something, but he was like the visionary. He was the face of it. He had a team around him that could help promote what he was saying. But what he was doing wasn't any different to what a lot of other people were doing. But it was why he was doing it that made the difference, and that's why people listened to him. And one thing he says in this book is, people don't follow you because of what you do, because there's a lot of people that do what you do. People follow you because of why you do it. And that really struck a chord with me because, all too often, especially in business, you're like, oh, I need to run more classes, I need to have this, I need to have that. But people don't follow you for that. People don't follow you for you, really. They don't follow celebrities for the celebrity. They don't follow them because they go, oh, wow, look, this person. It's a very shallow thing. People follow people for themselves. People, I've realized now that, people will come into CrossFit. They come into CrossFit or they come into our box for us to help them, not because they want to be particularly part of this box, but they want on a deeper level to feel involved with the community, or they have a deeper need of wanting to lose weight so they're more confident, so they feel like they can, get a partner, or they can achieve more in their job, or, if they're leaner and they're fit, they can lead a better life where they're not restricted by anything, or they can go on holidays and enjoy their time. They can be there for their kids. They can live that longer, better life. And like Martin Luther King Jr. was that spokesman of that why, and that's people were going to him to see him speak for themselves. And even like the Wright brothers didn't have the resources to build that first plane, but they had a why. They wanted to change the world by making something fly, where the other guys that were working on it that no one really has heard of, they had the funding from the government. They had all the best engineers and the best scientists working on this thing, and they couldn't get it done. It was because what they were doing wasn't wrong, but why they were doing it was wrong. They just wanted to be the first people to do it, and they were just so focused on the first people to do it, not focused on they're doing it like the Wright brothers. They were doing it because they believed that if they could make a flying machine, that it would change the way the world works, and it has. And like even like Harley Davidson, like Kate and I were in the States we stopped in Milwaukee for a few days with my friends over at Badger CrossFit, and we went to the Harley Davidson Museum, and in the museum, it's a lot about the why. They were creating a culture around their why, and they made motorcycles. They did a lot of other things as well, but even now, the presence of that Harley Davidson being free on the road culture is still very, very present in Milwaukee, being its founding town and the hometown still of Harley Davidson headquarters. But Harley Davidson that way, Apple is like that. People have Apple products everywhere, and it's not because Apple do anything crazily different or better than anybody else. What they do is quite similar to a lot of other things, but why they do it, that defying the status quo, building things, to put 1,000 songs in your pocket, not an MP3 player with 1 gigabyte or whatever, 1 gigabyte of data that can store 70 hours of music or whatever. Like, who cares? Apple weren't the first ones to bring out an MP3 player. However, what they did do was put 1,000 songs in your pocket. And, the MacBook, the iMac, the iPhone, all of that, they're connecting people. They're their whole thing is going against the status quo, and they're doing things for people's whys, and they're following their why. All their products come out with their why, and it's not that their products are any better or than anyone else's. It's just their why is very clear, and you can see that in all their advertising and anything. So there's Apple, there's Microsoft. So Bill Gates, there's a story about Bill Gates in there where he wanted to put a PC in every household, and that was his goal. And it was that goal to change the world by putting a PC in every household. And to do that, need to make it affordable and all that sort of jazz, and compact and whatnot. And they did that. And there's a million other software companies and computer companies. There's Dell and HP and stuff like that. But they haven't had the same amount of success as Microsoft because they weren't focused on the right things. Southwest Airlines were focused on creating like cheap flights that were affordable for everyone. And they took away a lot of services, and other people tried to copy them by focusing on the services that Southwest Airlines were providing at the same price. But it wasn't that people were after. People weren't after particularly the cheaper prices. I mean, they were, but they completely knew that they weren't going to get certain things from Southwest Airlines. And just the way they went about doing things was with their why, not with the what. They get rid of leg room and all sorts of stuff. And it would be very, very cheap flight, no on-flight entertainment, there'd be no food, stuff like that. And it was very, very basic, but that cut costs in the right ways to make travel affordable. Where other companies, they would still try and have all those things, cut the prices, and then cut vital things that people would expect of them, and it didn't work. So, very, very, very interesting in there. But all those companies have the one thing in common. They start with why, and they focus on why they do things, not what they do or how they do it. But being clear with the why then helps make what you do clear, which then makes how you do it absolutely crystal clear. And Simon Sinek explains this in the structure of the golden circle. Now, the golden circle is the core of everything. So why is at the core? And why, it's sort of like if you're looking on top of it, there's like a little circle in the middle, and that's the core, it's the why. Then there's a bigger circle just around that one, and that's how. So how is, the process behind everything. And then the what is the final piece of the circle, and that's where sort of companies meet consumers at the what they do. We offer classes, we offer CrossFit. That's how we connect. How we do it is we run classes, and that stuff is sort of like the admin behind the scenes, but the why is a very personal thing. And funnily enough, this part here, the why, how, what, actually connects with us biologically with our brain. So like our limbic brain is very basic, and that's not responsible for language or anything, but it's responsible for, like our basic feelings, and that's where the why touches. Because, this is something that we've talked about before, but like if someone asks you why do you love me, and you can't tell them, that's because that's your limbic brain, that's your basic thing. You can't tell them why you love them, because other people make you laugh and all that sort of stuff. So, they're attractive or whatever. There's a lot of attractive people. There's a lot of people that make you laugh. There's a lot of people that, give you massages every Saturday night. I don't know, whatever. Good in the sack, something. But it's part of your brain that you can't explain because there's no language, because the limbic brain, the neocortex, the language center, is a different piece. And the language center is the how and the what. But the limbic brain is the why. So, these are the parts of the brain. They control your emotions, basically. So the why is the emotional part. The neocortex is responsible for language and rational thought. And funnily enough, that starts to shut down after a while. We know if you're bad nutrition and stuff like that. So get that shit sorted out. But basically, I just translated this book into my personal life. And I really figured out, like, when I'm getting stressed out and worked up, that I really need to keep focusing on my why I do things, and reflect on how I do things and what I'm doing in relation to that why, because I don't want to split from that. And it's happened before. Absolutely. We've split from why we do things because we're so focused on how and what we're doing, and more so what, like leading from the back to the front, not the front to the back. And we're so focused on what's happening and what we're doing, and then forgetting a little bit about how, but then, that sort of figures itself out, but it doesn't line up with the what, and then it splits, and then you end up miserable and hating yourself. So it puts things in perspective. But most importantly, you need to find your why. Why do you do things? Why do you want to be you got to question yourself. Why do you want to be a better father, Alex? Because, it's hard to rationalize, but, I want to be there for my kids, and I want to make sure that I'm a good role model for them, that they can look up to me and be proud of me, and, I'm always there for them if they need me. Exactly why in the words is, you can't really put it, but, that's one of my main goals, and that's why I just want to be there for my kids. I want them to be proud of me. I want them to look up to me, and I want to be a great example for them. And then that goes to how I do things, how I exercise and nutrition and sleep, and how I act and stuff like that. And then what I do is obviously outside of that. So why do you do things? And you can try as hard as you can to put them in the words. Very, very hard to put them in the words. And sometimes it just doesn't sum up your feelings. But if you can even just be very conscious, very aware, and write and practice that constant daily awareness, and that will help you build a little bit of an understanding of why you do things. And then once you can build that why, you can build the hows, you can build the whats, and you can live a fulfilled, better life. And I hope you like this episode. And if you want to subscribe, we're on YouTube at CFWF or CrossFit Western Front, on Facebook and Instagram at CFWF. Tag us in your stuff. We'd love to share it. We'd love to see it. Let me know if you want me to talk about anything in particular, have any questions on this book. And give us a like, and I hope to talk to you soon. We'll see you next time.